In this hyper-connected, always-on world we live in, the pressure can feel, well, pretty relentless, right? So the big question is, how do we not just survive all that, but actually thrive? Well, today we're going to dive deep into the science of bouncing back. So, I want to kick things off with this quote from Albert Camus, because man, it just perfectly frames the problem we're all facing. We live in this culture that is obsessed with productivity, right? It's all about output, about being busy, about doing more. But here's the irony. This constant drive can actually leave us less creative and, as we're about to see, a whole lot less resilient. And look, this isn't just some vague feeling we all have. It has a staggering real-world cost, $1 trillion. According to the World Health Organization, that's how much productivity the global economy loses every single year because of depression and anxiety. So the takeaway here is crucial. Our personal struggle to cope with modern pressure, it has very, very real and very high stakes. All right, so that brings us to our first big idea, the modern productivity trap. Let's talk about the anxiety cycle that it creates for so many of us. I'm willing to bet this is a feeling many of you know well. It actually has a name, time anxiety. You know what I'm talking about. It's that constant, nagging fear in the back of your mind that you're behind, that the clock is ticking way too fast, that it's just too late. And what does that anxiety do? It pushes us to be, quote, as productive as humanly possible. But a lot of the time, we're just spinning our wheels without any real direction. Okay, so that's the trap. How do we get out of it? Well, that brings us right to our next section, where we're going to redefine a word we all hear thrown around all the time, resilience. Now, check this out. This is the scientific definition from the National Institutes of Health, and this is where things get really interesting. See, resilience isn't some fixed trait you're either born with or you're not. It's a dynamic process. It's the process of recovering and adapting after you face a stressor. And a stressor can be anything, really. Any experience that involves a challenge, a threat, or just plain old hardship. And this really gets at a huge shift in how we think about our own minds. The old way of looking at mental health was super simple. It was just the absence of illness. If you didn't have a diagnosed condition, you were fine. But now, the modern view is so much more holistic. It recognizes that true mental health is about the presence of well-being. Having positive emotions, feeling happy, and being satisfied with your life. This new way of thinking opens up a whole fascinating area of research. And this brings us to what I think is the core scientific insight of this whole explainer. The surprising power of what scientists call positive affect. Or, to put it simply, the power of just feeling good. So this leads to a really interesting question, kind of like the chicken and the egg. Think about it. Do we feel good because we're resilient and we've successfully bounced back from something? Or are we resilient because we feel good in the first place? Which way does that arrow of cause and effect really point? Well, what's so cool is that the research shows it's actually both. It works two ways. The first role, let's think of it as a thermometer. In this case, positive affect is an outcome. It's a way to measure resilience. So if someone experiences a smaller dip in their good mood after something stressful happens, or their positive feelings come back more quickly, that's a sign of greater resilience. The thermometer tells us how well the whole process is going. But the second role, honestly, this is the really powerful one. Positive affect also acts as a shield. Here, it's not an outcome, it's a resource that actually enables resilience. Studies have shown that having higher levels of positive feelings can actively protect you from the worst impacts of stress. It can soften the blow and lessen things like depression and trauma symptoms. So get this, feeling good isn't just the prize you get for being resilient, it's one of the actual tools that helps you get there in the first place. Okay, so we've got the science down. Feeling good is a key resource for being resilient. That's great, but how do we actually cultivate more of that? This leads us straight into a really practical strategy for building what's known as grit. So the researcher Angela Duckworth defines grit as this really powerful mix of passion and perseverance. It's that mental toughness that helps people stick with things and even succeed when they're facing tough times. You can think of it as resilience in action, especially when it's pointed toward a long-term goal that you really, truly care about. So what is grit actually made of? Well, Duckworth breaks it down into 5 key ingredients. First, you've got perseverance. That's just the drive to keep on going. Then there's resilience, which we've been talking about, the ability to bounce back. You also need courage, being willing to fail and get back up again. Then there's passion. That's the deep interest that fuels you for the long haul. And finally, conscientiousness, which is really about the discipline to follow through on what you say you're going to do. Now, this next part is, I think, the most empowering idea of all. Grit is not some magical quality you're either born with or you're not. It is built. It is developed. And what's the number one tool for building it? It's one of the most fundamental forces in our lives, our habits. Yeah, as Charles Duhigg explains in his book, The Power of Habit, pretty much every single habit we have follows this simple 3-step loop inside our brains. First, there's a cue. That's the trigger that tells your brain to go on autopilot. Then comes the routine, which is the action or behavior itself. And finally, you get a reward. And that's what tells your brain, hey, this loop was good. Let's remember to do it again. So building these grit-forming habits is obviously key. But okay, with so many things you could do, where on earth do you even begin? That brings us to our final and maybe most practical idea, finding your first keystone habit. A keystone habit is basically one core habit that creates this amazing positive ripple effect across your life. It unintentionally starts triggering other good behaviors. It's like finding that first domino to knock over, that one small win that sets off a whole chain reaction of positive change. And there's this fantastic real-world example of just how powerful this is. When a guy named Paul O'Neill took over the struggling company Alcoa, he got up in front of all these investors and totally shocked them. He said his number one priority wasn't going to be profits, it was going to be worker safety. And by focusing on that one single keystone habit, he completely transformed the company's culture, their communication, their efficiency, everything. And guess what? It led to record profits. But it all started with that one thing. And so that leaves us with one final question for you. Building resilience isn't about trying to overhaul your entire life overnight. That's overwhelming. It's just about finding that first domino. So what is the one habit for you? Maybe it's exercise, maybe it's mindfulness, maybe it's just reading for 10 minutes or connecting with family. What is that one keystone habit that could be the thing that starts to transform everything else?